Good morning, BookTube. This is Michael Romeo, and I'm here to talk about a book. Actually, a couple of books will get mentioned. Last night, I was watching BookTube videos, and I watched one by Mark at Booktime with Elvis called What a Corker. And in it, he read part of the last chapter of R.F. Delderfield's The Dreaming Suburb and proceeded to praise it as an example of why he loved the entire book. And it was great. It was a wonderful BookTube video. And lo and behold, as I left that video, I started scrolling to see what else there was. And there was Steve Donahue with the video response to What a Corker. And he too read from a last chapter in a book that he found near and dear to his heart. And it was fun watching these two guys read from their books and praising the books and just sharing from their hearts what was special about the books for them. So I decided to jump on the bandwagon, and I hope other people will too. And I'm doing my video response to What a Corker. My difference, though, is instead of reading from the last chapter of a book like the other two gents did, I'm going to be reading from the beginning of a book, because it's a book that first time I read it, and I've read it several times, I picked it up and I started it, and I knew from the very first page that this book was going to be a corker, even though I probably didn't think of it in that term back then, when I was like 17 years old when I read the book. But I knew that I was going to love this entire book, and I did. I devoured it. And I'm going to share with you the opening of that book for my What a Corker entry. The book is Trinity by Leon Uris. And I'm going to read a few pages of it from the start. And hopefully you'll see in it what I saw in it when I first read it. I recall with utter clarity the first great shock of my life. A scream came from the cottage next door. I rushed into the room as familiar as my own home. The Larkin kids, Connor, Liam, and Bridget, all hovered about the alcove in which a mattress of bog fur bedded old Kilty. They stood in gape-mouthed awe. I stole up next to Connor. "Grandfather's dead," he said. Their ma, Finola, who was 8 months pregnant, knelt with her head pressed against the old man's heart. It was my very first sight of a dead person. He was a waxy, bony specimen lying there with his open mouth showing no teeth at all, and his glazed eyes staring up at me and me staring back until I felt my own ready to pop out of their sockets. Oh, it was a terrible moment of revelation for me. All of us kids thought old Kilty had the magic of the fairies and would live forever, a tale fortified by the fact that he was the oldest survivor of the Great Famine, to say nothing of being a hero of the Fenian Rising of '67, who had been jailed and fearfully tortured for his efforts. I was 11 years old at that moment. Kilty had been daft as long as I could recall, always huddled near the fire, mumbling incoherently. He was an ancient old bear, ancient beyond age, but nobody ever gave serious consideration to the fact he might die. Little Bridget began to weep. "Hush," her ma said sharply. "You'll not do any crying until Grandfather has been properly prepared. The house has been surrounded by fairies, just waiting to pounce on your weeping. And your weeping will encourage them to break in and snatch his soul from us." Finola struggled to her feet, going into a flurry of activity. She flung open the windows and doors to let the evil spirits out and quickly covered the mirror to hide his image. "Liam, you be telling the news. Be sure to go to the byres and the beehives and let the cattle and bees know that Kilty Larkin is gone. Don't fail or the fairies will take his soul." She wrung her hands and sorrowed. Oh, Kilty, Kilty, it was a good man you were. And then she turned to me. Seamus. Yes, ma'am, I answered. Get to your ma. I'll need her good hands to help lay him out. Connor. Connor didn't respond, just looking on at his grandfather. She joggled him by the shoulder. Connor! Aye, ma. Go up to the bog and get your daddy. Bridget had fallen to her knees and was crossing herself at a furious pace. Off your knees and be helping me, Bridget, Finola commanded, for the corpse was a woman's work. Liam bolted first into their own byre. I could see him through the half door, speaking to the larking cows as Connor backed away from the alcove, slowly, his eyes never leaving his grandfather. Outside, I punched him lightly on the arm. Hey, if you come to my house first, I'll go to the bog with you to fetch your daddy. We scampered over the stone wall which separated our cottages. My own ma, Mayrid O'Neill, as all the mothers of Ballytoog, will be remembered by us bent over her eternal station at the hearth. As we tumbled in, she was hoisting the great copper pot by pulley chain over the turf fire. A good day to you, Mrs. O'Neill, Connor said. I'm afraid we are in sorrow. Kilty Larkin croaked, I said. Ah, so it is, my ma sighed and crossed herself. And sure, Mrs. Larkin will be needing you to lay him out. My ma was already out of her apron. Connor, you stay here with your brother and sister tonight, she said. I was hoping to mourn at the wake, he answered. That will be up to your ma and daddy. Are you carrying salt? Oh, Lord, we all forgot in the excitement. Ma went to the large salt bowl in the niche on the side of the fireplace and doled out a pinch for my pocket, for Connor and for herself, to ward off the evil spirits. I'm going to the bog with Connor, I said, bolting behind him. Be sure you tell the bees and cows, she called after us. Liam is doing that. And again, reading it again for the, 6th, 7th, 8th time. I'm getting caught up in it all again, and I want to read the book again. It is a wonderful opening, a wonderful beginning. It tells so much about the characters and what to expect from them. And as the book goes on, it does not disappoint. It just continues to get better and better. So, that's my Corker. And I thank Mark at Book Time with Elvis and Steve Donahue for launching this new, let's hope it's a trend. And I look forward to seeing y'all on the next video. Thanks. Bye.